Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to our July 18th, 2022 monthly City Council meeting. I'd like to welcome all of my fellow councillors. Two councillors are unable to be with us today because of other commitments. And we have our Deputy Mayor, McColeman, and all other councillors. We have our CAO, Rob Philpott. And I understand this will be his last official monthly council meeting, Rob. So thank you, and we look forward to a good meeting. We also have our Director of Finance, Kristen Dunsford, with us. And we have Brian Harlick here on the left, who came in off his holidays to run the controls, and thank you for that, Brian. And we have members of the public with us, and we welcome to our viewers on YouTube, and Carl McLean from the Journal Pioneer, and others. And so we'll continue on with the agenda. The meeting has been called to order. Is there a motion for the approval of the agenda? Moved by Councillor Snow and seconded by Deputy Mayor McColeman. All in favour say aye. Aye. Contrary nay. Carried. Any conflicts of interest for the declaration? I do not see any speakers' lights on. So we'll move on to the approval of the monthly council meeting minutes on June the 20th, 2022, and the approval of the special council meeting minutes of June the 23rd, 2022, also July 5th, 2022. Moved by Councillor Campbell and seconded by Councillor Ramsey. Any questions? All in favour say aye. Aye. Contrary nay. Carried. Correspondence, just got so many pieces of paper and invitations and events. We'll not take the time today. But it has been another very busy month and busy week with Carnival and all kinds of things going on. So we'll catch up in next monthly meeting on those. And we'll continue on with item number 4. And if any members of council, when they're giving their report, if they get anything under correspondence they want to present, they certainly have the time to do that. Financial Services, Deputy Mayor McColeman, you have a report plus, I believe, a resolution.
Yes, that's
Go ahead.
Your Worship. I just had my report already and then I lost it. Must be that summer sun. Anyway, good afternoon to my colleagues on City Council and to the residents and business community of the City of Summerside. Our 21-22 financial statements were approved on July the 5th, 2022, and they're also posted on the website for anybody that wants to look at them. Here are some highlights from our 21-22 fiscal year, and please refer to our discussion on the 21-22 financial statements, which can be found with financial statements on our website. 3 of the main points from the statements are in accordance with Public Sector Accounting Standards, PSAS. Our consolidated statement of operations is reporting an annual surplus of $31.3 million. This compares to a budget surplus calculated on the same basis of $30.8 million. Public sector accounting requires government to record infrastructure funding received for capital projects to be recorded as a grant and not amortized over the useful line of the asset. The receipt of infrastructure funding for our solar storage projects is the main reason we are reporting a $31.3 million surplus, because that money did come in. The city's net financial debt increased by $15.9 million to $86.9 million, and this is mainly due to the significant capital expenditures and associated financing of these assets for the solar storage project. This significant project will provide long-term recurring revenue, which will more than offset the debt servicing costs required to fund these capital expenditures. The city's, the long-term debt has increased by $2.8 million. The city is still within acceptable debt limits. However, debt servicing costs are increasing, which means a greater percentage of revenue is required to pay these debt service costs, and this may require a reduction in other spending. My report today includes our preliminary financial results for the first quarter 22-23 and our projection to March 31st, 2023. These preliminary results show a surplus of $381,000 compared to a budgeted surplus of $6,700. The more significant variance relates to electric sales, greater consumption, and service charges for development. And just for folks to be aware that these are very preliminary results, and departments are beginning to review their projections to March 31st, 2023. And at this point, I just want to update on the status of our utility accounts receivable. As of July 13th, 2022, total overdue balance is $134,600 compared to $121,000 at June 14th, 2022. Approximately 4.4% or $5,900 of the overdue balance is greater than 60 days past due, and this compares to 3.4% or $4,100 at June 14th, 2022. And just for members of council, I won't get into the pieces of information, but you do have in your report all of the financial information that's usually given as of June 30th, 2022, the projection fund and expenses and revenue. Okay, and that concludes my report. Is there any questions?
Any questions for the Chair of Finance? I do not see any speaker lights on, so do you have a resolution?
I do, sir. Okay, this resolution, our Finance Committee met and we discussed at length this resolution that was coming forward, so Council has been made aware of it. And it's resolution number COS 22103, moved by myself, Norma McColeman, seconded by Vice Chair Councillor Brian Mcfeely. And it says, whereas the City of Summerside uses capital bridge funding, an example would be a line of credit, to finance capital expenditures temporarily until such time as infrastructure funding is received from other parties or partners, city share project is borrowed long-term. And whereas, due to several significant capital projects, an increase from $20 million to $25 million is required for a 9-month period, which would be until March 31st, 2023, after which time the limit will be reduced to $5 million. A request for proposal was issued in May 2021, and Scotiabank was awarded the capital bridge financing. This resolution is to increase this capital financing facility already in place. Be it resolved that Council authorize a $5 million increase in the capital bridge financing facility currently in place with Scotiabank.
Moved by Deputy Mayor McColeman and seconded by Councillor Mcfeely. Any questions on the resolution? I do not see any speaker lights on. All in favour say aye. Aye. Contrary nay. Carried.
Thank you.
Okay, that's all they have under finance at this time. Okay, we'll continue right on here. I believe Councillor Mcfeely, Planning Board.
Thank you, Your Worship, and we have a couple of resolutions there, so we'll move right into them. Resolution COS 22-101, moved by myself, Councillor Mcfeely, seconded by Councillor Barb Ramsey, whereas an application was received from Andrew and Claire Carr for a zoning amendment for PID number 315267 from medium-density residential R3 zone to high-density residential R4 zone under the City of Summerside zoning bylaw. And whereas zoning bylaw amendment 204, a bylaw to amend the City of Summerside zoning bylaw, was read and declared as read a first time at the council meeting held on June 23rd, 2022. And whereas in accordance with section 5.7 of the zoning bylaw, council shall consider the following general criteria as applicable: conformity with all requirements of this bylaw, conformity with the official plan, suitability of the site for the proposed development, compatibility of the proposed development with surrounding land uses, including both existing and projected uses, any comments from residents and other interested persons, adequacy of existing water, sewer, road, stormwater, and electrical services, city parking and parklands for accommodating the development and any projected infrastructure requirements, impacts from the development on pedestrian, vehicular access and safety, and on public safety generally, compatibility of the development with environment, scenic, and heritage resources, impact on city's finances and budgets, other matters as specified in this bylaw, other matters as considered relevant. Be it resolved that zoning amendment 204, a bylaw to amend the City of Summerside zoning bylaw, shall be declared as read a second time. And this bears the recommendation of Planning Board meeting held on July 5th, 2022. And I'll read Schedule B into the record, the zoning amendment 204, a bylaw to amend the City of Summerside zoning bylaw. The Council of the City of Summerside, under authority vested in it by Section 18, Section 19 of the Planning Act, RSPEI 1988, Cap P-8, hereby enacts as follows. The zoning for PID number 315267, shown on Schedule B of the City of Summerside zoning bylaw, is designated as high-density residential R4 zone, hereby excluding it from its former designation of medium-density residential R3 zone, and the map is attached there showing the subject property, Your Worship.
Moved by Councillor Mcfeely and seconded by Councillor Ramsey. Any questions in the resolution? All in favour say aye. Contrary nay. Carried.
And the second resolution, Your Worship, is COS 22-102, moved by Councillor Mcfeely and seconded by Councillor Ramsey. Whereas an application was received from Andrew and Claire Carr for a zoning amendment for PID number 315267 from medium density residential R3 zone to high density residential R4 zone under the City of Summerside zoning bylaw. And whereas zoning bylaw amendment 204, a bylaw to amend the City of Summerside zoning bylaw, was read and declared as read at two separate meetings of council held on different days. Be it resolved that zoning bylaw amendment 204, a bylaw to amend the City of Summerside zoning bylaw, be hereby formally adopted.
Moved by Councillor Mcfeely and seconded by Councillor Ramsey. Any questions on the resolution? No questions. All in favour say aye. Aye. Contrary nay. Carried. I believe they're at the meeting today, so this one is finished. So just further information. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you for the business you do in Summerside.
Thank you. So we'll continue on with, that's all you have at this time? Somebody filling in, Councillor Snow will give Councillor Duran's report. Tax services.
Thank you, Your Worship. The report was compiled by Aaron, Director Aaron, and just thank him for doing so. Just going to highlight some here in the report. The 2022 construction season and capital projects continue throughout the city. The work continues on Central Street water main replacement project as well as sewer replacement project, and those will continue throughout the entire construction season. Staff continues to review and assist the public with pending developments, building permits to be issued for this year. Staff have been busy again this month with a few planning related items brought before council. For this month, 26 building permits with the value of $12.5 million were issued, and total year to date of 132 permits for a value of $34.7 million. Citizens are encouraged to continue to ask for assistance with their projects that they may have planned in 2022. That is the highlights of the report from Aaron McDonald. The full report would be on our website. Thank you, Your Worship.
Thank you. Any questions for tax services? Councillor Campbell.
Just a comment, if you can maybe take a look at the Fox Run development when they're going to seem to be dragging their feet and finishing that up. I've had several complaints, so if you announce it to Mr. Durage that there has been some people ask about it.
Okay, I'll pass on to Aaron that there's some questions about Fox Lane development, and I'm sure he'll be in contact with you.
Thank you. Okay, we'll continue on. Back to Councillor Mcfeely, Economic Development.
Thank you, Your Worship, and I'll be very brief and thank Mike Tetuska, Director Mike Tetuska, for the report. I think the good news in this month's report is the the year-to-date construction. It was kind of surpassing last year that we thought was a banner year, and year-to-date this year we have $34.7 million in investment in our city, and at this time last year we had 34.2, so we're $500,000 ahead of last year's pace. So if that keeps up, that's good news. And I think of particular note is the residential total is 60% higher than last year. But the concerning thing in this is the commercial and industrial is down, and that continues to hinder our business attraction and economic diversification. So as much as the effort that the department is putting into increasing the economic activity in the city, it continues to be a challenge to get the space that we need to do so. Although there's still a lot of interest, the office had 55 unique client interactions for the month of June. So by unique client interactions, that's 55 individual people, not the same person 55 times. So that's good news that there's in 1 month our small staff of 2 people are dealing with 55 potential investors in Summerside. So that's good news. The office is getting close to launching its 24-hour investment web portal. That'll hopefully get up and running early in the fall. And I know that the office continues to work with Prince County Hospital, and some folks might, and I will mention that there was, I think Mike Tuska had a note out over the last day or so looking for anybody that might have space for a locum there from August 15th to September 15th to help with some of the short staffing that's happening at Prince County Hospital. So I'll throw that out there for anybody that may have some space that they want to make available there. And we continue to work very hard on the renewable energy file, and I know that the office is working with a number of potential partners to deal with some of the outputs from the solar farm that's being constructed. So and these will really increase the clean fuels to Summerside for both premises and transportation opportunities. And another exciting one, I know I had some discussions with ADL folks as well, and I know the office is working with ADL folks around an e-bike charging station out around the ADL plant, which is right by the trail. And so to begin to pilot those types of things in the city, and ADL are very interested in partnering with the city on that. So we look forward to that. So July normally is a very quiet month, Your Worship, but has been, in June has been an extremely busy month. So it's good news for the city, and the office continues to work forward and move forward and with economic development opportunities. And just in conclusion, Your Worship, I was away around Lobster Carnival time, but I've heard very, very good reports on Lobster Carnival, and I really want to give a little shout out here to the Culture Summerside folks, Laurie Ellis and Marlene Campbell and their team, and for those of us that were around when the carnival came to the table here and was really the previous owners of the carnival were ready to kind of throw in the towel at that point, and it was losing money and was really in bad shape, and so hats off to Laurie and their team there for kind of giving this thing new life, because it had 1 foot in the grave at one point there, and they really have over the last several years breathed new life into it, and it will continue to grow. And I think the key piece in all this is I don't think it's sustainable in the long term with just the city kind of running the thing, that the community really at some point needs to take ownership for it. So hopefully we'll start to see community groups step up in the future to take on parts of it and make it even better and bigger and better. So hats off again to Laurie and her team. Thank you, Your Worship.
Thank you, Councillor Mcfeely, and made a good comment there. Even though we're only 3.5 months into the year, our year, I guess, officially starts on April 1st, and we're already ahead of all of last year. So it looks like it's certainly going to be another great year for development. Any questions for the chair? I do not see any speaker lights on. And you're right, with the Carnival, it was very successful in getting it back on its feet again. Okay, we'll continue on with the agenda here. Municipal services, Councillor McDougall.
Thank you, Your Worship.
How's the street sweeper working?
Good. It's great. It's on its way. I have a report here from, what's that?
It's coming across the bridge now, is it?
I hope so, yeah. No, it's, I have it in my report, and it's due, the last day we had was the end of July. It's supposed to be around, but
That's good.
we continue to rent a couple of street sweepers and keeping things neat and tidy as we can. I have a report here from Director Greg and Greg Goody. The usual maintenance at the treatment plant has been carried on. One thing to note is the Reed's Corner lift station upgrades have been completed and is fully operational. The asphalt patching is approximately 60% complete, and the traffic line painting and crosswalks continues. We're just using the yellow paint now. We've run out of white paint, but it's supposed to be here later on this month. So, and that's an issue that a lot of people are having, a lot of municipalities. I just brought you up to date on the street sweeper. The new subdivision Schooner Lane has been commissioned and tested for water system, is clear to be operated as part of the system. Just the water samples, we had 32 water samples taken and 15 chlorination samples, and all have been clear of bacteria. So,
Just up to date on Schooner Lane for John Q. Public.
Yes.
Where is that again?
Schooner Lane is in Wilmot area, isn't it? That's the new subdivision off of,
Starlight
yeah,
area?
in through there. Yeah, part of Starlight, yes. Thank you. That's all I have, Your Worship, for municipal services.
Any questions for the chair?
I just
Oh,
have
go ahead,
just a brief
Deputy
one.
Mayor.
I wanted to mention, because I know Councillor Bruce and Mayor Basil, we were down the first night of the classic car nights downtown. And I think a general question that come out, and I'm just putting it out there, if we could somehow find an answer or whatever. Right now, Robert Gallant, he's hosting that pretty well solely at his own expense, but he is covering the cost for porta potties. And I'm just wondering if there is something that we can look at to provide some support or whatever, because, you know, we still have another 6 weeks of that happening, and I just wondered if we could just have a few minutes to, not now, but, you know, just to put it on the radar, because I think I went down on Friday night, and he is covering that. So, a lot of people, big crowds.
Big crowds.
Yeah.
So
and it's something we can discuss. I believe we give money to downtown DSI, and I think we should have a conversation with them to be part of this conversation.
Okay.
Yeah, that's just my thought. But
I sent an email out to Rose this morning from downtown, or with downtown Summerside on another matter, but if I hear
Okay.
back from her, I'll check with CAO,
Yeah.
maybe we could,
yeah,
because I don't
Okay.
know if they've got that money earmarked for other things.
I have no idea.
Okay.
So appreciate that. Just a couple of comments. Wanted to wish a happy belated birthday to a fine lady. When we were on the parade the other day, the Lobster Carnival parade, Councillor Adams said, "Bruce, there's somebody yelling at you over here," and I went over and waved. It was Ella Simmons, and she just turned 99 years old. And very, I hope I can watch the Lobster Carnival parade when I'm 99. But
Watch it from the float, maybe.
from the float, yeah. I'll be long gone. I'll be long gone before that. And just on my last note, I'm doing the cultural, and I will mention the Lobster Carnival and that. But I just before I sit down, I'd like to say thank you to our CAO, Rob. This is Rob's last council meeting, and I certainly enjoyed working with you, Rob. I want to wish you all the best in your new role with Memorial University, and all the best. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor McDougall. Any questions for the chair? Or he's coming back up again, I guess, to give a report. And Councillor Campbell, how everything in the electrical?
I don't know if I got enough voice left here to do this. I'll do my best. Start off with a little bit of bad news. We had over 20 lights damaged from vandalism down on the boardwalk, which we had to fix, and it's concerning. And Mackenzie Drive had an emergency outage of approximately 100 homes. We're out for 2 hours. And our big project is, the Sunbank project is now entering its installation phase of solar panels. The first row on Bayview Drive have been placed, and the roadway is due to be completed by the end of August. And we had a very little wind again last month. Only 33.6% of electricity came from wind. Generator was run for 15 hours. We had this one that the mayor always listens to is 16 new electric customers. Energized this month, 8 electrical service upgrades. So everything is in full gear. 7 new poles were installed and 4 removed. 8 transformers were installed and 9 removed. 39 service calls. 9 appliances had been sold for heat for less. And it came in my term as a councillor, we now have 502 units out. So we hit the 500 mark. I know it was a little over 300 when I started. Anyway, that's my report.
Thank you, Councillor Campbell. Any questions for the chair of electrical? I do not see any speaker lights on. Thank you very much. We'll continue on here. We're moving right along. We have now the police services and fire and emergency planning. Councillor Ramsey.
Okay. Thank you, Your Worship, and welcome everyone, and everyone out there on YouTube as well. I'll do a fire report first. For the month of June, we had 28 calls. There was also 269 hours of training by the volunteers for the month of June. The Firefighters Association will be holding an event called Summer Nights on August 13th with the Ellis Family Band performing. They've sold many tickets, but they still have some left. So anyone who's interested can go Monday to Friday between 8 a.m. and 4:30 p.m. To Fire Service Building, and they will have tickets available for you there. Should be a great night. It's nice that people can get out again and be together and have a little dance on the street. What'll be wrong with that? That'll be fun. Anyway, after finally getting through a number of COVID delays, fire department members made a presentation to Mary Stewart, wife of the late firefighter Leo Stewart. Leo was 29 years active with the fire department. He passed away at the beginning of the pandemic, and Leo's portrait will be held at Station 2, hung at Station 2, I should say. The last couple of months have seen 3 of our upcoming firefighters step away from the fire service because of work commitments and moving from the coverage area. Chief Inman and the City of Summerside would like to say thank you to Danielle Albert, Robin Casey, and Ben Gallant for your hard work and dedication during your time with the Summerside Fire Services, and good luck moving forward. It has been over 20 years since Summerside has had a junior firefighter program. In the near future, there will be information released for the interest of initiating the program once again. If you are between the ages of 14 and 18 and have a desire to learn about firefighting and emergency services, keep an eye on our Facebook page. So that'll be really nice for the young people to kind of get involved, and because right now they're having a problem with keeping firefighters, not just here, but everywhere. And so they're just trying to set that program in place in order to get themselves in a better position. That's Fire Services report. Are there any questions? No? If not, I'll move right into police service report. For the month of June, members continue to attend meetings for the Bridge Program. Met with the organizers of an annual triathlon being held this year on August 28th, starting at the waterfront. Several members attended an initial meeting in Charlottetown. 2 members attended a provincial executive team meeting in Charlottetown as well. The training and services, 6 members attended the Critical Incident for Frontline Supervisors course in Charlottetown. Several members attended defensive driving course at the Atlantic Police Academy. 1 member recertified in taser training, and 2 members took crisis negotiation training. Other training included peer support team training, death notification training, group crisis intervention, and applied suicide intervention skills training. Community police activities, 2 members, along with Councillor Ramsey, myself, attended the Crime Stoppers AGM in Charlottetown, which was very informative. I guess I already said one of the things that, one of the groups that donate a large amount of money to Crime Stoppers is our Summerside Boys and Girls Club, and we should be very proud of them. They are the largest contributor to that organization. So I was pretty proud to be sitting there with that group of people, knowing that the money comes from Summerside. And then the following is a list of some of the occurrence totals for the month of June. Calls for service were 611, traffic accidents were 25, reported crimes of assault and threats were 23, theft reports were 23, impaired driving offenses were 5, highway traffic charges were 84, break and enter reports, business and residential, were 6, drug enforcement charges, and it does not include the JFO, the Joint Forces, were 2. Any questions on this report, you can either contact Chief Poirier or Deputy Chief Walker, or I may be able to answer any questions. Huh? And I just have my emergency measures report. Things continue to be worked on with our plan. We feel confident with what has been completed over the last 2 years. Rob Philpott has now left the room, but this was kind of addressed to him, but I'll say it anyway. With our CAO departing his city position, I will ask that he have a complete report in place for the future CAO. So anyway, maybe Kristen, you could take that note for me, or just so that Rob has that. And I'd also like to thank Rob for all of his work and effort put into ensuring that the emergency measure plan is in great shape. We've worked really hard with it over the last couple of years, and so people are in good shape here. So just wanted to Rob, I was just kind of saying thank you for your support with the emergency measures program, and that you'll probably have a report ready for us to hand off to the next CAO coming, and we'll be able to just continue on from there. Thank you so much. And
Or through the deputy, acting Gordon will be acting deputy in the meantime till the new person's in.
oh
place.
yes, for sure, yeah, but it goes from Rob to a chief management, yeah.
Right.
So, and that's all I have.
Any questions for the Chair of Police and Fire and Emergency? I do not see anything else. Do you have any further comments?
Well, I guess I could talk about the Lobster Carnival as well and the success of that, and it was so much fun down there. But one of the things that is near and dear to me, and also to Mayor Basil, I know that, is the country music contest that we had this year, that we had standing room only for both nights. And I just really like to thank Council for their support on this, because without everybody working together, it wouldn't have happened. And it was just awesome. And we look forward to having it again next year, and it being bigger and better, because there's always room for improvement. And when you do something for the first time after 20 years, you find out maybe what you missed and what you didn't, and we'll add to that. So
Thank you.
That's really all
Yeah,
I
it was
have, and
there
thank you
in-
to Culture for
Yeah,
their
I think it
work.
was dear and near to all councillors, too.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. Well, some are country, some aren't. So they were just kind of like, oh, is it got to be a country? Well, yeah, it did. Anyway, thank you.
Thanks, Councillor Ramsey. Okay, we'll continue on here with community services. Councillors Snow,
Thank-
you have the floor again, sir.
Yes, thank you, Your Worship. Community services is definitely busy this time of year, but I'll try my best to shorten this report. First, start off by thanking JP DeRoger, Director, who compiled the report. June kicked off with Hockey Fest, which is the world's largest street hockey festival. Over 30 teams of all ages took part in the two-day event at Credit Union Place. Hockey Fest featured 4 half-size NHL rinks with real boards, real nets, and real refs. Organizers were extremely pleased with the success of the event, so the dates for 2023 are already set and will be announced shortly. Shipwrights Run also took place, which saw over 120 participants compete in the 5-kilometer, 10-kilometer, and 21-kilometer races. Proceeds from this event, once again, this year were donated to the Canadian Cancer Society. The month ended with what was the start of a 10-day international wrestling event, which was held at Credit Union Place. Wrestlers from across Canada, U.S., Republic of South Korea, and Jamaica all took place. 85 wrestlers in total, and the event couldn't have ended any better with hometown wrestler Hannah Taylor winning gold in her weight class. Active living staff are also very busy this month with summer fun camps. It's an 8-week-long camp that takes place throughout the summer that sees roughly 30 kids in each camp. The Aquatic Center hosted swim meet in June, attracting participants from across Atlantic Canada as well. And last but not least, our Three Oaks Senior High School were at Credit Union Place on 2 separate occasions during the month of June, once for the Three Oaks prom and the other for the Three Oaks graduation. Both took place in the Island Petroleum Energy Center floor. That is the report for the month of June, Your Worship. If there's any questions, please ask.
I don't, it's not really a question, Councillor Snow, it's just, and it's not necessarily to do with community services, but I know that the old vocational school is down, and I know that was something near and dear to your heart in the beginning, and I just wanted to say thank you to you and all council for, making sure that happened, and I just wanted to, I know that you were adamant in the beginning that come down, and I just wanted to thank you for that.
Thank you, Councillor Ramsey. I was very adamant in the beginning and still very adamant that.
Yeah, well,
it's
it's down, so, yeah, it all helps.
Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Snow, and like I said, your department is very busy, and busy in all departments around the Credit Union Place, as well as the ballparks and parks in general, so
Yeah.
thank you very much. And you had mentioned last week about the Billy Bridges Park material is ordered.
Yeah.
And thank your staff for their hard work as well. Okay, we'll continue on. I believe Councillor McDougall, you're back on the floor.
No, somebody else has the heritage.
Oh, legal and culture, that was yours.
No, I'm in
I thought
culture.
they said they weren't gonna put, there was 2 that I wanted to.
Okay, so
Yeah, I just think it's not there.
so I thought you were coming on with
Yeah,
one?
I have culture.
yeah,
Oh, that's part of this one, yeah.
I think Rob is.
yeah. Councillor McDougall would do the HR and Legal Affairs and Heritage, and Councillor McColeman was going to do the BPR report.
Okay, good. Floor is yours, sir.
Thanks for the warning. HR and Legal Affairs, the Joint Occupational Health and Safety Committee, as well as department subcommittees, continue to meet on a regular basis. The department provided support at various meetings this month, and Noma, I can't pronounce the last name. Nwenya was recently hired as utility customer lead in the finance department. Mark Bassett started work this week as the new distribution supervisor, and the search firm Boyden has been selected to assist in the search for the city's next chief administrative officer. And effective July 23rd, Gordon McFarland will assume the role of acting CAO until a permanent candidate has been selected. We just wish Rob Philpott all the best as he moves on to his new position at Memorial University. And that's all I have for that report. Your Worship,
Thank
if there's
you,
any questions? Yes,
Thank you. Anything, do you have another report?
I do. I have the culture report.
Go ahead, sir.
The following report captures some of the highlights of the cultural Summerside's activity from mid-June to mid-July time period. The old-fashioned carnival was a great success. The carnival was very well attended. Families from all over Summerside and various parts of the island attended. Comments were favorable, and community is happy to have this event return. In the words of one community member, this is the type of event that the community needs. And it was interesting to, I was there looking after the little ponies, of course, and but it was amazing because I went through that before, but I was never there the whole time period, and it was amazing the amount of people that went through there and how excited the kids were to buy something for a nickel. You know, it was unreal. Summerside Lobster Carnival, the 66th Summerside Lobster Carnival held July 5th to the 9th, was a great success, and it's exciting to get back to a full carnival delivery after 2 years of reduced programming during the pandemic. The carnival attracted visitors from right across Canada, United States, and throughout the world. They enjoyed 5 days of delicious lobster supper, great entertainment, and organizers gave thanks to all who choose to make the Lobster Carnival part of their summer. Returning favorites such as the Midway, the lobster suppers, the cardboard boat races, cooking demonstrations, and community barbecue all experienced participation levels equal to or higher than pre-pandemic numbers. New and reintroduced elements such as the trivia event and the amateur country music singing competition was very successful and drew large crowds. Down in the museums, our museums and our history, culture, and interpretive centers are open for the summer. This includes the Summerside Interpretive Center that was reopened on June 29th. Tours are available regularly at the Wyatt House Museum, Fox Museum exhibit, and 5 days a week at Bishop Machine Shop Museum. Concerts in the Garden, they're weekly and they're held on, they take place every Wednesday evening. Summerside Arts Festival and Diversity City are currently preparing for the Summer Arts, which I believe it starts today. Yes. Scheduled for July 18th, 19th, and 20th. The event includes a drive-through art exhibit on Prince Street, a sculpture garden, many artist demonstrations, live music, artist workshops. Diversity follows on the same site on July 24th. So if there's any questions, I try to answer them.
Just, it mentioned the Fox Museum. I think it's in the Armories building, so I'm not sure if it'll be known as the Armories building, or it should be, or versus the Fox Museum in the Armories building. But anyway.
I'm not sure how that would work.
I have a
go ahead.
question, Bruce, and it's just, and I don't know, it's just a thought when I was coming down Granville Street today, and I saw all the art, but it's just like on a side street, and I just thought to myself, I wonder what that would look like downtown, you know, where people could come and gather and sit and have a cup of coffee, and it's just a thought, and I actually called Councillor Snow, and I said, it's so beautiful when you see it, wouldn't it be? And when I drove downtown, I saw all our trees in bloom downtown. I thought, wouldn't it be nice under the trees? And
it is,
you
so-
know, and so there's always room for change or whatever, but I just wanted to kind of put that out there to see what people were
Maybe
thinking.
part of the carnival too. Shove the head week.
It's a suggestion that I'll bring forward. It's very convenient where it is for all the other stuff that's tied into it too, right? So, but yeah.
But I'm just thinking more like tourists coming into town, how often would they drive? Like they might not find it, where if it was right downtown, it would be right there, you know? Anyway, just a
Okay.
thought, Bruce, yeah.
Appreciate that.
If, I'll just add to that, for the Arts Festival, I know there is that natural tendency to think downtown, but with the effort that they put into it, It's really an amazing area to sit all around the trees and the picnic. They have music. They have artisans doing
It ties in
crafts and
with
that, so it's a little bit slower paced so people can ask questions.
Yeah.
And anything that I've heard from, and that happens to be the ward I'm in, but any of the people that have been there, they love it.
Yeah.
Because
It
it's,
draws
you know,
well,
there's shade
yeah.
trees, there's music, and I know Culture Summerside has put some of that downtown with the keels and
Yes.
whatnot. So they really try to spread it
Yeah.
whenever they can. And the reason why it wouldn't be attached to the Lobster Carnival is because they only have back-to-back so many days to get one
That's right.
finished
And
and
we all-
get the other one, and they're going full steam on that piece of it.
Yes, and again, my final comments is, I just wanted to thank Lori Ellis, the director, and especially Marlene Campbell, because I spent a lot of time as being part of the culture department this year. I spent a lot of time down there, and I can tell you that there wasn't a time I didn't go down there that Marlene Campbell or Lori wasn't running from tent to tent, and they did an awesome job. And I just wanted to pass my thanks along on behalf of Councillor Adams, because we were involved in a lot of the things, the lobster stacking and that type of thing. So it really takes a lot of work. So, you know, and I know they don't have a whole lot of time to get ready for the arts festival. So anyway, just yeah.
Maybe it wouldn't hurt at this time to mention the need for volunteers with culture when things like that in the community need to happen, because we were short volunteers this year.
I'm so glad you brought that up, because, you know, as Councillor Mcfeely stated before, the Lobster Carnival was run by the service clubs, owned by the service clubs, and the city of Summerside threw it the life ring, and we brought it back to where it is. We really need the volunteers. We really need the community to get back involved in it. The city can't be everything to all things to everything. And we were short of volunteers this year, but I think we really need to make an effort to somehow get whether it's community clubs back involved, the community themselves, but there's a real drive that needs to go here. If we want to make our Lobster Carnival successful, we have to have volunteers. You look at Time Valley, you look at Kensington, you know, all these out, whether it's Albert and Tignish, whatever, there's always successful parades, successful events, whether it's 1 day, 2 days, but it's the community that has taken, and we need to put community back into the Lobster Carnival.
I think, Bruce, I think it's important to thank those volunteers that were there, because they worked super hard,
And they loved it.
and all the time, and they love it, and they're upbeat, and, but you're right, that, just-
Anyway, that's my report. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor McDougall. And I believe Councillor, or Deputy Mayor McCollum, you were going to give
Yes,
one
you're
of
right. The bylaw.
the bylaw
policy.
report. Go ahead.
Okay. So, just representing the chair of the committee, I'd like to thank CAO Rob Philpott for preparing this report to bring. And I would also, just at this point, want to just take this opportunity to thank you, CAO Rob, and wish you all the best. Thank you for the role that you've played in the city. Sorry, my back is to you. And wish you all the best in your new endeavors in Newfoundland. Thank you. Good afternoon, Mayor and all members of Council, as well as residents of Summerside. I will be bringing everyone up to date on the latest efforts of the Bylaw Policy and Review Committee. I'm presenting this report in the absence of Chair and Vice Chair. It is a shorter report, as there has been much business already processed through the Policy Committee over the past few months. The committee will look at the process to issue mobile sales establishment licenses in situations where the applicant may only be operating for a short period of time. Most licenses are issued for a summer season, but we will assess whether in future, allowances may be made for applicants who are planning to operate for part of the season. As well, the committee will also examine the process for notifying the public when rezoning applications are made to council. At the present time, residents or businesses that are situated 60 meters or less from the boundary of the property that is being rezoned are notified of the application for the rezoning. This notification takes place across a number of different platforms as spelled out in legislation. The committee will assess whether the notification zone needs to be expanded and whether other communication tools need to be utilized when notifying the public. And that concludes the Bylaw Policy and Review Committee report. And I did forget one thing, and that was in my finance report to thank our Chief Financial Officer, Director Kristen Dunsford, who prepared the report. Thank you.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor McCollum. So I guess we've gotten to the end of the agenda, but I see there's a couple items for the Committee of the Whole. But just before we adjourn, I want to thank Rob Philpott for your many years of service, the last couple of years or so as CEO, and also 8 years or so with, as Director of Finance, or was it 9? 8 years as Director of Finance, and we wish you all the best as Vice President of Memorial University, and going back to your hometown and to your university where you graduated from. So we wish you all the best, and thank you, but you'll be around for a few more days. We'll see you. But, all the best to you, and again, thanks very much. So we've got a good Councillor McDougall.
Yeah, I just had one other thing that I wanted to mention, and I just wanted to thank yourself, Mayor Stewart, and Councillor Ramsey for the amateur singing contest, all the work that you've done on that, and being like a dog with a bone on that issue to bring that back, because it was a great success. And I also want to thank Jeannie Cameron and Chad Matthews for the great work that they did, because there was a lot of work that had to go on in the background, and it was a great success. And the talent in this island is unbelievable.
And
so
the judges had a difficult job too.
Yeah, and the judges had a difficult job.
And
Thank
I think thank the council, because it was unanimously supported among councillors to try to bring it back. And maybe next year we'll get, Councillor Campbell said he'd be willing to do a number next year, and Councillor Snow. Okay, we've gotten to the end of the agenda. Is there a motion to adjourn? But I see we've got to go in the Committee of the Whole. So moved by Councillor Ramsey and seconded by Councillor Mcfeely that the meeting adjourned. Thank you very much, and we'll take a 2-minute